You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or their affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for our usual Thursday show. And guess who's back? Carl!
Hello, everybody. I'm back. It's been a fun-filled nearly 2 weeks. Great to be back. Still suffering a little bit from the mysterious plague that's been going through everybody at Sage Paracon, but I'm here, I'm back, I'm wrapped up like a snowman. I'm trying to keep warm, but I'm back on the air. How are you, Sam?
I'm good. I seem to be the only one getting better from this Sage cold.
Yeah. There's quite a few people, and some have got it really, really bad. Like Jolene, our fellow presenter, she's got it really bad. But I know last time I saw the last of the speakers, they were just either just getting over it or just coming down with it. So it's a fun-filled Sage event that you get a nice present of a lurgy as well.
Yeah, we're not putting anybody off, by the way, if you've,
No, absolutely
this
not.
doesn't happen every year.
No, it doesn't. But it's a bonus for everybody. But yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back on a normal Thursday night. I know I've been absent, but for the last couple of weeks, but I'm back and I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of a recap on Sage Paracon 4 2019. A very, very enjoyable and interesting event, and we'll go through it shortly with it.
And obviously, apologies that we have actually done it this late, because of schedules, and we have.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just we wanted to do it obviously a bit sooner, but we had a very important show last week with Dakota. From Destination Fear, and his filming schedule and his schedule just couldn't do any other day, and he couldn't do any pre-records, so we did that. And obviously I was out and about doing the last bit of the Sage with my Sage hat on with MJ, doing the little bit of showing the last of the speakers around, which MJ did a absolutely amazing job, which we'll talk to her about it. But it's we would have done the wrap-up show, but we just apologise. But hopefully everybody that came along is going to tune in and interact in the chat room. So if you have any questions or you want to know anything, just interact in the chat room. There's the link on the post we've been doing on social media and sharing. So get involved. As we've always said, this is your show. So if you want to say anything, ask any questions or reminders of funny moments you had at Sage Paracon this year, let us know and we'll talk about it. But it was a fun-packed. The initial part, obviously, the fun-packed of the 4 days at the conference at the most amazing hotel. The pictures on the website look amazing, but it's that moment, and I've been there a few times, but it's always that first initial moment when you open that front door. You drive across the moat into the courtyard, and then you push the door open to go into the reception of the main hotel, and then you're just hit by the most amazing view. The pictures don't do it justice. The pictures are amazing, but when you're actually standing basically in front of a pulpit of the original abbey, and you're basically in the main hall and the original furniture. And what hotel? There's not many hotels around the world that actually have a tomb of a murdered monk, a physical tomb of a murdered monk in. What other hotels have got that? And the bedrooms are amazing. The location is just stunning. But the thing that obviously that I love all the time is that the staff at Coombe Abbey are so helpful, and they really do look after you. And it's just incredible. And I just love Coombe Abbey.
And guys, the lovely lady herself who puts on this amazing convention every year is here with us live right now, and that's MJ.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Pretty good. How's yourself?
I'm good. Frazzled, but good.
Yeah, I honestly can seriously understand why you're frazzled.
Well, to give the listeners an idea, I went and had a nice hot bath to try and get over the sage lurgy, and I fell asleep in the bath and only just woke up a couple of minutes ago. So I am like a drowned rat at the moment.
But it's yeah. But as it is, we're not on TV, so you can look however you look. I look like I'm going out into the Arctic. I've got t-shirts, hoodies, jacket on, and I'm still cold. So as we say, it's good for radio.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So MJ, this is the 4th year for Sage Paracon.
Yes.
And obviously we spoke about it to you before the event, and now a week later, or just over a week later, what are your thoughts, and how did you feel the event went, and what are you blown away by, and what are the memories you're going to take away?
Where do I start? Okay. So I don't know if a lot of the listeners know this, but I worked non-stop for the last month wrapping up the final things for Sage Paracon. And I was working 18-hour days. It was frantic. I was getting the last things ready because I'd been in America. So I didn't have that much time as I usually would to sort everything out. And unfortunately, my laptop with the entire convention completely crashed and the hard drive fried 3 days before the event.
Mm-hmm.
So it was panic stations, to be honest. Start off with, I was completely in panic mode, trying to make sure that I had done everything in 2 days off the top of my head. I had 2 hours sleep a night. It was just chaos. But when the weekend started, everything just seemed to fall into place. Just a big shout out, first and foremost, to you, Carl, for just being a superstar, my right-hand man, the whole convention. Thank you so much. I mean, I couldn't do this, not only without you, but without Sam I Am doing, the shows, and Carrie and Parasearch Radio. There's so many people that just helped bring this whole event together. Elizabeth and Mary for doing registration and helping with all sorts of other things. My husband for putting up with me and just being a superstar over the whole weekend, being such a great host to all of the guests and to everybody that joined us this year. Thank you so much. It was such an incredible weekend. I think it went well. I think everybody seemed to have a really good time. The speakers were amazing, so big shout out to them. The investigation was great. The banquet was rowdy, and there were a few Sage Tribe members that got a little rowdier than others. It was just great. I loved the whole weekend. I did have a few minutes here and there to actually stand back and appreciate all the hard work, that went into this over the year.
I must admit, and you don't have to thank me, MJ, because you know that I would do anything for you. So it's completely my pleasure. And as long as I'm there to take a little bit of the stress off you and hand you things when you need things and do whatever I do. And obviously Sam and we did the radio show for you as well.
Honestly,
Kerry in the background as well, doing the setup when we say right, we're going live. Kerry worked her socks off as well, so
absolutely,
big shout out to Kerry as well,
yes,
and the whole of the Parasearch network as well, that backed us all the way through the weekend. So, so let's because I've got so many questions that which we discussed over the last probably 2 weeks anyway, at various different moments in time. So let's start with the investigation. The investigation part of it. Obviously, myself and Duncan were making sure all the groups were in where they needed to be on time, and we had everything like that. And I must admit, the buzz normally on the investigation is amazing, but I felt this time the buzz between the groups, listening to the groups when we're moving them before each of the sessions, everybody was talking about different experiences with all the amazing speakers that were doing the investigation, as well as Jolene, who was also helping out as well on the investigation side of it. And it just felt to me that people were having experiences nearly every session they went into.
Honestly, Coombe Abbey is one of the most active places I've ever had the pleasure of investigating. And it's so funny because I was actually speaking to the events manageress who, when I went in for a meeting, she was like, because of Sage and because we host the Paracon there, she's been inundated with emails from people wanting to hire Coombe Abbey for paranormal investigations. And unfortunately, she won't allow anyone except Sage to do the investigation. And the only reason that we get access to it is because we host an entire convention there. Yeah. It's a really, really big event, which brings in a lot of money for them. So it's not something they do. So we're really, really lucky to be the only exclusive people who are allowed to investigate this location. And each and every speaker, one of the main things, as everybody knows with Sage, I want you to learn. I want you to take something away from the investigation that you can use in your investigations in the future. And each speaker had a task of sort of doing a specific experiment or a specific thing, you know, from Bloody Mary doing all the crazy voodoo ritual things and opening the gates and teaching how to open and close gates and things, to the Newkirks doing the Estes method and that sort of thing, through EVP, through Ouija boards, all sorts, you know, automatic writing with the planchettes. There were just so many different experiments and things. But yeah, every single group that came through, because obviously I hosted one of the groups for the evening doing mainly EVP, which was mind-blowing. But every group that came through, you know, I was asking them, what were you enjoying and did you get activity elsewhere? And they couldn't stop rambling about it. You know, there were so many things, like the EVPs that Claire and Jolene received matched up with certain things that Greg and Dana had picked up on Esther's method. It was just mind-blowing. Yeah. One of the things that stood out the most for me during the investigation was we were doing EVP up in one of the suites, and I had asked the question, if there's anyone here talking with us, do you go to any of the other groups and interact with their experiments? And we received an EVP saying he's gone downstairs. And it was so strange because right at that moment, we heard Claire and Joe and them's group downstairs all of a sudden just start like shouting like, oh my gosh. So clearly that was when they received one of their clear EVPs. And later on in the night, I asked, has he come back yet? And we received an EVP saying he's downstairs, not back yet. It was crazy. Yeah. I have not heard, I mean, at one point I said a sentence and a female voice mimicked me and said the exact same sentence, trying to mimic my accent. But it was so clear, it sounded like somebody else in the room. It was just crazy that every single session, each group received something. You know, there was some form of activity. I know Claire Hinks and all of them with Susan in the room next door to us, they received quite a bit as well. So it was a absolutely great investigation from start to finish.
Yeah, because obviously I got to speak to every single group when we were moving them between areas, and I witnessed obviously the stuff that Calvin and Karen were doing in the main banquet area, and there isn't many places that I've seen that people would actually let you use one of the original 18 something or other, one of the, before obviously the talking boards became, Calvin had brought this antique 18 something or other planchette with a little wheel where you actually did automatic writing and let people actually pick it up and physically use it.
That's it. It was really hands-on, and it was bringing history alive and using the old techniques as well as new techniques. There was just something for everyone. And it was really nice because even though there were so many people for the investigation, it was a really large group. But having split that down into 6 smaller groups, it still felt very intimate. Each group that came in, there was between 5 and 8 people in a group. So, it didn't feel like a massive group. I think a lot of people were very worried about that when we first started. And throughout the night, a lot of people came up to me and they were like, do you know what? This is so fantastic. It's so intimate. It doesn't feel that way. We're learning so much. Overall, I think the investigation was fantastic.
Yeah, I think a lot of people out there who were in it, depending on which group they were in, I think a lot of people that went on the investigation got a lot of personal experiences. And hearing back some of the EVPs, sometimes obviously when you get EVPs, you think, is that saying that? Is that saying this? But some of the ones that I was lucky enough to have heard back, you can clearly hear what they're saying.
Absolutely.
You don't have to change them. You don't have to fiddle with them. You can clearly hear the response.
One of them was super clear that actually caught me a bit off guard because it was an American accent. And there was a lady that said, "We're all here." And it is so crystal clear. It's just fantastic. I've got to go through all of them, and hopefully, you're going to have to bear with me over the next few weeks, but I will try and get a little audio and everything out just with some of the EVPs and some of the video from the investigations as well.
Yeah, and it was obviously nice of you to give me a lovely name badge as well on the investigation night.
Yeah, definitely.
Which was very, very nice. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're very welcome, Carl.
Because I know there's a few people in the chat room. There's like Elizabeth in the chat room. She was obviously the first person to post in the chat room my name that now travels the world. We've got Alex as well, who was an absolute diamond during the whole weekend because he helped. Without Alex, we could have had a few technical issues with Max not taking the HDMI cables, but Alex is in the chat room. We've got Laurie, our keeper of Bigfoot, who I believe is gone out to lunch and is chasing some sheep at the moment. And we've got Richard as well. Good evening, everybody. Everybody in the chat room, let us know if you've got any questions. Just post away. Any memories, anything that you want us to talk about, just post in the chat room, and we'll pass it on. Thanks. And obviously, we just got Wes just come in as well. Hi, Wes from Canada, I believe.
Hi, Wes.
Like we said, the investigation side of it, I was blown away. That probably over the 4 years had the biggest buzz over the 4 years on the investigation side. It was amazing.
You know what? This year, I know my tribe. I know the majority of the people that were there, I know personally, and I've either investigated with you guys before, or I know which kind of groups would click and which groups would have a great energy. And it was really nice because I was able to split everybody into groups that I knew would work well together. And having a good energy and a good group on an investigation makes a huge difference. Absolutely huge.
Yeah, because obviously Sam was actually on the investigation in her group, and talking to Sam, you were saying some of the personal stuff and some of the stuff that you experienced was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you this one, MJ, and all the listeners, because a lot of people know. I had because I was with Karen and Calvin doing the and I was obviously with Alex. So I was with Alex, and we were doing the planchette writing thing.
Yeah.
And every time, not saying it's paranormal or anything like that, every time Calvin walked past, he'd stop to me like, Calvin, will you bugger off? And then he'd just give us that look of like, how dare you, And then Carl had just nipped out for a breather, and without fail, I'm not even lying, I thought he was stood by his equipment case.
Wow.
And I turned to Alex, and I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, what? And then obviously Calvin he's like, what? And I goes, go stand here. And I goes, I just seen, it wasn't any features, but it was a big guy, not sounding to sound horrible, but it was a big guy, just like a shadow figure, and I thought he was Carl.
Wow.
Carl walked in after a bit, and I looked at him, and he's like, what?
Exactly, because I'd nipped out. Obviously, we have the 5-minute warning for when the sessions, and then I'd go out to my place to meet the other group. So I just nipped out, and I came back in, and Alex and Sam's face were just staring at me, going, "You're there," and I was like, "What?" Because when I'm in that room, to keep out of the way of everybody, I sit right in the corner next to the cases with the walkie-talkie to make sure if there's any issues, etc. And like I said, I just stood up when the 5-minute warning came in, just to make sure there was nobody leaving any of the areas and getting ready for the next changeover. I walked back in, and like Sam's and Alex's face was just like, "You're there," and Sam goes, "You were there," and I went, "No, I haven't been in the room for about 5 minutes." And she explained that exactly in the same spot where I stood, where I was leaning, Sam turned around and saw this black figure in the shape of me, and she thought I was still in the room.
That's crazy. That's not the only person, Sam, you're not the only person who had a very similar experience. I can't remember who else it was, but somebody else told me they'd seen a tall shadow figure. The investigation, there was some really, really incredible things that happened. And, I'm definitely looking forward to finally going through all the EVPs and things properly. But it was good. It was really good. Definitely the best one so far.
Yeah. And then obviously we had a little bit of an easy morning the following day. And then we then kicked off again with the medieval banquet.
Oh my God, so much fun every year.
That is hilariously funny, and they changed a bit of the script from the previous years. So obviously it was based on the same sort of lines as previous years, but they'd obviously changed some of the songs, and they went to town. They basically knew the group.
Oh
and, they tailored their routine in the show around the group, and obviously we had the famous words that keep on getting shouted around.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! And obviously we had the Count and Duchess, which was MJ and Duncan. But yeah, it was that was great. That was like a real, for people to get to know each other, because obviously they were in set tables, and it was a good opener to get to know people that didn't come on the investigation, that were there for that particular night. And it's always a good icebreaker, I felt, over the years that we've done it, that people get to know each other, and you can see the friendships being formed over the evening. So
the banquet is really nice and it is entertaining, but for anyone that's coming to Sage Paracon 2020, we're actually not doing the banquet again. It is fun, but we've done it 2 years in a row. And yes, even though they changed the script and the songs and that sort of thing a bit, we want to do things a bit different next year. So there will be a VIP dinner. However, it is going to be very different to what this year was all about. So for those who are listening, Sage Paracon 2020 starts on the 5th of November. So remember the 5th of November. And the reason I'm saying that is because our investigation will be Thursday, the 5th of November. And if those of you who have been to Sage Paracon or are thinking of coming to Sage Paracon, what you might not know is that the gunpowder plot with Guy Fawkes, a lot of it surrounded Coombe Abbey. That is where Princess Elizabeth was staying when they were going to kidnap her and assassinate her father and put her on the throne. And so, there's a lot of that history with the gunpowder plot that just courses through Coombe Abbey. That it's such a big part of the Abbey's history. So doing the investigation on the 5th of November is going to be great. That's the particular reason that I chose that weekend. And so for the dinner, we're going to be doing a Guy Fawkes night. And we'll have a sit-down dinner with entertainment. And, of course, we're going to sacrifice Sam I Am on the bonfire.
Finally.
Finally. We've been threatening to sacrifice Sam I Am for so long.
Yeah.
So it's happening, Sam. 5th of November, that's it. We're sticking you on the bonfire.
Okay.
And then, like I say, obviously next year, which we'll come on to at the end, and we'll just cover that. But and it's interacting in the chat room as well. I believe Elizabeth has a picture of me when I got presented my name tag, so I'll be looking forward to seeing that.
I love that photograph. I
haven't seen it yet. So,
it's just the best. That is meme worthy, honestly.
Okay, so I'll look forward to seeing that. And then obviously going into it after the medieval banquet and everything like that. Just going back to Coombe Abbey, one thing that fascinates me about the place and I get so excited about is the interaction with the actual staff members, because everybody knows, all the staff members know what we're doing. And when you go to some hotels, some of them won't even sort of interact with you, and we're because of the nature of what we're doing. We're bumping into some staff at very strange times of the night, at all hours, and everybody was coming up. How's it going? Have you seen anything? And then they've all got their own little stories. They've all got their own little things that happened, and they're so interested in what we're doing, because obviously, as you say, we're the only people ever to go in there and do like a paranormal convention there. And
a proper paranormal investigation. Renting a room and running around in your room with your equipment doesn't quite count as a full investigation. No. We've all done that. We've all hired a room and sneakily gone in investigating. But one of the nice things that we did before the medieval banquet was we actually had one of the members of staff telling us all the ghost stories and all the things that they've experienced, that the staff and that people, guests have experienced. And I believe David Bowie stayed at Coombe Abbey at one point and ran to the reception stark butt naked, saying that he refused to stay because he had seen a ghost. So the stories are just amazing. Yeah. What people have experienced over the years.
Yeah, and the staff that were doing the ghost history just before the banquet. They were obviously telling us the different stories, and a couple of them we can't really mention on the radio. Obviously, the David Bowie one, and that hit national press and everything like that. He was like wanting his manager to turn up and pick him up straight away because he wasn't staying here because something had sat on his bed, and literally, like he said, the night receptionist was basically confronted by a naked David Bowie, not a stitch on, complaining about ghosts and saying that she needed to call his manager to get him picked up.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's great, and a big shout out to Coombe Abbey and the staff. There's a reason that I'm hosting the event there yet again. Obviously, you're not going to have the most incredible service 24/7. You will have some staff members that aren't as open about it and that sort of thing. But just, the staff in general were really nice and wanted to know all the stories and that sort of thing. And even the guys that were tending the bar during the Voodoo Bash, I felt so sorry for them. I went to them beforehand and I was like, okay, tell me what stock you have behind the bar. And they were telling me, and I looked at the guy and I went, you might want to get maybe another 2 bottles of Jägermeister, maybe a bottle of tequila, maybe some more beer.
Jack Daniels.
So I was like, how much Jack Daniels do you have? And he thought I was kidding, But they had a great time behind the bar. And it was the first time the staff had actually come to me and said, it's been such a pleasure to work the event because all the attendees were just so friendly and so welcoming. And, they were all getting involved and chatting, and they were all very pleasant when they were ordering their drinks. It was just a really nice, fun vibe. And it's always so nice to hear that from staff as well, because I've worked in hospitality myself, and there's nothing worse than a grumpy customer.
No.
So big shout out to the Sage Tribe just for being so damn awesome.
Yeah, because I bumped into Stephen, the guy that was behind the bar on the Bash in the Bayou night, and he was on another section like the next day, and he was like he asked his boss whether he could be work in the bar area again.
Yeah, there was
and he was like, oh, and he actually said to me that he was going to get in contact, and he said he was going to buy a ticket so we could attend the whole weekend.
There was another guy by the name of Michael as well that just had the best time, and he also came up to me and he was like, I want to be on that side of the bar with you guys. This is so much fun. So, I mean, going on to the voodoo party, wow.
Yeah.
Holy mama.
Yeah. I must admit, I was subtly dressed. I should have been in a bit of a different outfit, but I just didn't have time to. I didn't have time, so I did the best I could at that particular moment in time. So, and but I still had voodoo stuff. I still had the voodoo shirt on and stuff like that. But I was completely and utterly blown away about how much effort and time people put into their outfits.
I keep telling people, when we do a VIP party and it's a theme, the Sage Tribe go all out. I mean, people had taken an entire year to make their outfits. I never had time. I bought a black dress, and thank God for Juliana from Skull Rabbit Effects Makeup. Big shout out to the girls that did all the makeup for everybody. Yeah. I sent her a photograph of this crazy witchy voodoo makeup, and I was like, I have a black dress and contact lenses thanks to Susan, so just can you do this? And I mean, I scared myself in some photographs. I did a video, and every time I looked at myself on the video with those contact lenses, it just creeped me out. Everybody kept coming up to me going, oh my God, I can't look you in the eye.
I must admit, when I walked in and you came up to me, I had to literally take a step back because I wasn't expecting the eyes, because those were red and they looked very, very scary, and your whole makeup, and I was like, wow.
I had such a funny moment because I went up to the DJ to go and discuss the karaoke, etc., with him. And I was standing there telling him that we were going to do this voodoo ritual, and I'm dressed with this crazy ass makeup, and he was staring at me completely confused until he actually realized that it was me. And then he looked at me. He was like, "Oh my God, MJ, I didn't know it was you. I genuinely didn't know who the hell I was talking to." And it was so funny. You know, here I am dressed like a crazy person telling the poor DJ that we're starting a voodoo ritual, which was so much fun.
I must admit that ritual, Bloody Mary, she scared me that night because I was quite close on the table from where she was doing it, and I'd seen snippets of what she'd been doing on the investigation when I was moving groups around, but when that lady gets into full ritual mode and doing what she did, that was like I was literally chilled to the bone. It was amazing to watch, her knowledge just blew me away.
For those who are listening that weren't at Sage Paracon this year, we came up with this fantastic idea because it was a Voodoo in the Bayou bash for the VIP party. The photos are incredible. Have a look on the Facebook page. We decided that it would be fit to have a voodoo queen do a ceremony to open the gates and welcome in some good juju, some great energy, so everybody would have a great time and just get the energy flowing. And do you know what? She really did, because the party went from like, oh, okay, everybody's trying to get to know each other a bit more and trying to figure things out a little and checking out the outfits, to like full-blown dance floor karaoke madness. It was so much fun. And a big shout out to everybody that did karaoke. I mean, it's a little unfair that Nina, who is a Lady Gaga impersonator, literally blew the roof off the place. But my good Lord, Jolene, that voice.
She's been hiding that under a bushel.
Yeah, right? There were so many people that got up to sing karaoke. That was just, it was so much fun. It was mind-blowing. I think I will forever be haunted by Kelvin and Duncan's karaoke, though.
Yeah, which I've been told by your husband that I have to be involved in next year.
Fantastic. That is totally happening. But you know what? It was so much fun. It was just a great way to break the ice with everybody. It was probably one of the better VIP parties that we've had. And it's going to be really hard to top that next year. But next year we're doing a ghostly Great Gatsby Gala. Now, if you're not too sure what that is, think 1920s Great Gatsby undead.
Yeah.
So whether you're a zombie, whether you're a ghost, whether you're a murdered flapper girl, or whatever the case may be, we're going glitz, glam, gold, sparkles, just absolute glamour, and dead.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great theme.
So if you men out there that are coming next year, look in the back of your wardrobes, look out for your zoot suits, get your spats on, I'm in a lucky position because I don't really need to put my costume together because I have a zoot suit in the back of the wardrobe, so I'm all sorted.
But you know what? And now I'm going to issue this challenge to everybody coming to Sage Paracon next year. You know what? Every year the outfits get better and better. But now you guys have seen that, you know, we go all out. We really go all out for the outfits and things. And we've got little prizes for the best dressed, and it's going to be a party that you'll never forget. I can tell you that. I've got a few things up my sleeve for next year that might just blow people away. And so definitely get those outfits ready. Do it.
Yeah,
I want to see glitz, glam, mafia, 1920s, prohibition.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Just to give you an idea of some of the effort that people went into, we actually had this year 2 life-size human voodoo dolls.
Oh my God. Tracy
And if anybody,
they were incredible. I mean, kudos to everybody for their outfits. But I felt so bad for the voodoo dolls, Tracy and Vinny, and Laurie doing her Bigfoot boogie. I mean, those outfits had to be hot as hell, you know, so kudos to them for sticking it out. And just everyone looked incredible. It was really difficult trying to choose the best dressed. But yeah, hands down, Bigfoot and the voodoo dolls. That was great.
It was. We even had a dragon as well.
We did, but that was at the medieval banquets. You know, it was so funny. Alex messaged me and he was like, "Do you mind what we wear at the medieval banquet?" And I was like, "Oh hell no, wear whatever you want." I was rendered speechless, and for probably the first time ever, when I walked into the medieval banquet and saw a bright purple dragon, Alex in a onesie, it was hilarious. That was one of the highlights of my night. Honestly, it was just so funny. And then Duncan slaying the dragon, or apparently it was a draw.
Yeah. Because Duncan did like to have a sword. And he had some. He was loving the sword action. But yeah, Alex.
Actually, a big shout out to Simon. Simon actually made the shield, the Sir Sage-a-lot shield, and it's going up on my office wall. I absolutely love it. So much effort.
Yeah, there was people there that just went all out, and they you can see the fun, and because people that know me know I like to watch and take everything in. And the people were just the buzz, and I'm hoping that came across when we did the radio shows during the days on the Saturday and Sunday and on the Friday. It was the buzz around the whole convention. Even early in the mornings when we were starting the days off, when there were probably a few people with sore heads, there was still that amazing buzz around, and I was blown away by just that, because the moment the people were coming through to listen to the talks or go around the vendor area, the buzz was amazing, and people were just interacting, and that I think is the biggest key, because it is such an intimate, exclusive type of convention. You do get that, like you say, friendships that that last from Sage 1 all the way through.
Absolutely.
Even outside,
it's a reunion.
Even outside of the paranormal.
Definitely.
Stuff, and the friendships have just grown and grown and grown, and the buzz around the whole of the convention during the day. Anytime you listen to people, you just talk to people, and they were just having such a good time. And like you say, you like people to learn.
Well, you know, this was a big thing for me this year as well. As you know, every year I go out of my way to try and bring really interesting speakers that are going to teach you really different things, you know. And the lectures this year were just phenomenal. You know, I've seen majority of these people do talks before. For instance, Greg and Dana, I'd seen them speak at a convention in Kentucky. And the moment I saw them in Kentucky, I was so mind blown that I went up to them and I went, I don't care how, I don't care what I have to do to make this happen, but the Sage Tribe need to see you guys. And I said to them, I'm putting you on a plane and I'm flying you to the UK. That's it. That's how it's happening. And I'm a very persistent person. So, you know, all the speakers, from Bloody Mary teaching us voodoo and the paranormal and helping us understand a bit more about voodoo, to Taz Thornton doing shamanism, who shocked the hell out of everybody in the room. Ashley Mortimer doing Wiccan witchcraft. Calvin Von Crush doing his show in hell was just brilliant. Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed his talk. I mean, Greg and Dana, hands down, they were great. But a big shout out to Claire Hinks and Claire Barron, because, you know, neither of them had actually done a talk in front of that amount of people before, and they blew it away. They were so damn good. I mean, every single one of the speakers, every one of them were just fantastic.
And the thing that I noticed, obviously setting up the making sure that their presentation was up there, from literally the first speaker, poor Claire, who was very, very nervous. And literally I was blown away by, because obviously it was the first speaker and everything like that. Normally it's over history, it's kind of the quiet there's not so many people in the room, but it was packed.
You know, and this is what I love about the Sage Tribe. And I was actually talking to Karen and them about this. So big shout out as well to Karen A. Dolman, because her talk that she did this year was completely different to the one she did last year. So again, we learned something new. And I can listen to Karen talk for days, literally for days. But we were having a chat about this, you know, and with Greg and Dana as well. And they were saying they've never seen a convention where the lecture room is so packed. Yeah. Like every single talk. And, you know, so far, a lot of people have given me feedback from this year. So thank you so much to the Sage Tribe for that, because I can only better this event with your feedback. And the one thing that was or two things, shall I say, that was sort of consistent throughout all the feedback that I'd received was the fact that there was not enough time to mingle or do shopping between the lectures. And I can tell you why that happened this year, because we weren't actually supposed to have so many speakers. We weren't supposed to have the Hellier preview that we did for season 2. That all came in afterwards. That was kind of like added bonuses, but it kind of threw the schedule out a little, and it was very jam-packed, which I know everybody loves having so many different options and talks and things. But the fact is that with the Sage Tribe, everybody wants to see every single talk. So if you guys pop onto the Sage Paracon website, which is sageparacon.co.uk, have a look at the schedule. It's up already. It doesn't tell you who is speaking in which spot, but it will give you an idea of how much more relaxed next year's convention is going to be. There's at least half an hour to 45 minutes between each and every lecture for people to mingle, to do shopping, to get more time just chatting to the speakers in between lectures. So you don't have to choose between having a chat to speakers and watching the next lecture. There will be more time. It will be a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, because we got a shout out for some of the people that were up in the vendor room, like the boys from Haunted Magazine, the guys, Claire Barron's sister doing
Lindsay,
Lindsay, and the photographer guy as well.
Yeah,
taking
Simon
photos.
Photography.
Yeah,
big shout out to all the vendors and that.
Yeah.
I know the vendors did really well, and this is the second thing that was consistent throughout all the feedback that I've received so far. Is people want more stalls. People are wanting to do more shopping. And the thing is, you know, I did that the first Sage Paracon. I had like 30 stalls or 20-something stalls, and the vendors didn't do that well. And I think it was also because people didn't really know what to expect. Yeah. As Sage Paracon has grown, people know that they can do all their paranormal shopping at Sage Paracon. So I am taking that into consideration. I'm going to figure it out. You know, there's a few other things that we've received in feedback, like the main entrance area by the bar was ice cold. Oh my gosh, it was freezing in there. Even though we did have a little heater in there, it did absolutely nothing. So, you know, next year we're looking at how we can heat that area. We're looking at where we can put more stalls and what types of stalls we're going to have. There's so much more. And do you know what? It's all from your feedback that I'm able to better this event. So there will be more changes next year. But But there's also a few things that, were consistently good in the feedback, like the Q&A session, the sort of the Jeopardy way of introducing everybody to the speakers was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, because we got Lee in the chat room who just posted the Jeopardy way of introducing the guests. Then that was just genius.
Thanks, Lee.
So yeah, it was a good way of ice breaking and for the people who didn't know an awful lot about some of the speakers,
exactly,
to get some hidden little gems, as I called it.
So here's another thing. Next year, instead of doing the Paranormal Jeopardy, like the questions for the guests, the attendees, like we did the Q&A and then we did the Jeopardy, we're actually going to be doing 2 different Q&A sessions because everybody loved that so much. So the first one's going to be sort of an introduction Q&A session, the same as we did this year. And the second one is going to be more of let's debate things. So it's going to be more topics to debate rather than just little interesting facts about the speakers. So we're going to play around with that. We're going to give it a try. We're going to see how that works. It might be nice to bring up certain topics and just have the whole speaker panel debating it, and have the crowd asking questions and getting more involved. So that is something that we're going to try a little differently next year.
But yeah, it just absolutely blows me away the way you, MJ, put together your speakers because of how they all gel. And the highlight for me this year, from just me being in the paranormal and being a paranormal geek and stuff like that, has to be the talk and the preview that the Sage tribe got on Hellier.
Oh my gosh,
with Greg and
am
Dana.
So damn excited for Hellier Season 2. It comes out on the 29th of November. It will hit Amazon Prime first, and then from there it'll go to YouTube, etc. Guys, if you haven't watched Hellier, what the Hellier is wrong with you? Seriously, do it. Go on YouTube, binge watch Hellier Season 1, because when Season 2 drops, I am going to binge the entire thing in a couple of days. Yeah. I just, seeing the preview and seeing the look on everybody's faces watching the preview. So big shout out to Greg, Dana, Carl, Connor, everybody involved with Hellier. Thank you so much for allowing the Sage tribe to see a sneak peek of Hellier 2. I can't wait.
Not going to go into any details, but
no spoilers.
I was even just by the preview blew me away, and getting time to actually sit down and discuss and talk to Greg and Dana was my highlight.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the other speakers, my buddy from another mother, Calvin, all the speakers, absolutely all the speakers I love. But I for the first time ever, when meeting these sort of guys, I was kind of like a fangirl. I know that sounds weird.
I fangirl every year.
Yeah. Daniel and Greg, when I first, because obviously I'd watched Hellier and stuff like that, I went to actually physically sit down one-on-one and just chat to Greg and Dana. Blew me away. I was literally like a fangirl. I now know how certain people feel over certain shows about certain people, but so interesting to actually hear about their side of what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And every year I get inundated with so many people asking me to be speakers, and some of the biggest names in the industry. But you know what? Sometimes it just won't fit Sage. Yeah. It won't fit the tribe. And people have to understand that there's so much more that goes into it than just picking speakers. The speakers themselves have to gel. it has to be a really nice mix of personalities that will all get along. That, you know, there's just there's a lot more that goes into it. And, you know, like next year, I mean, looking at next year's speakers, just to let anyone know who has never been to Sage Paracon, if it's your first year next year, you are in for an absolute damn treat.
Yeah, fan favorites.
Yeah, for the guys who have supported me from year one, it is all the Sage Tribe fan favorites. Obviously, I can't bring back every single speaker because I literally can't. We won't have enough time. And I have to save some for another year. However, this next year, we've got my absolute favorites as well. You know, I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about their lectures that have blown me away. I mean, we've got Jeff Belanger, who is the writer and researcher of Ghost Adventures. He hosts New England Legends. He's just incredible. He's got so many books, I can't even begin to rattle them off. I think he's got like 15 or something books out. So Jeff Belanger from year 1 and 2. We've got Aaron Sagers coming back, you know, the king of paranormal pop culture. We've got Richard Estep coming back again.
That got one of the biggest cheers when you announced Richard.
Absolutely. Everybody loved Richard. I mean, I'm excited because the book about Bodmin Jail, his book about Bodmin Jail should be coming out by then. And I was actually one of the investigators that researched that with him. You know, I was on the investigations with him. And also Haunted Hospitals 2, which I was very honored to write the foreword for. But again, you know, Richard has so many different lectures. It's ridiculous. I can listen to him forever. We've got Greg Lawson, the paranormal detective. I freaking love Greg. And I'm not going to ruin what his talk is about, but the Sage Tribe are going to be just completely blown away. We've got Nikki Folsom coming back again. She's actually got another book coming out. If you don't know who Nikki Folsom is, check out her book, The Haunted Harlequin. It's about the theater that she works at that's ridiculously haunted. We've got Frank Sinelli, Dr. Spector coming back. Frank is like my paranormal dad. He actually walked me down the aisle. I mean, you and Sam were at the wedding.
Yeah.
You know what? And there's obviously going to be a fan favorite coming back from Sage Paracon 4. So one of the speakers that was at Sage Paracon this year will be back again next year. And a big shout out to the newbie on the block. Yep. We've got Corinne Gretton West, and Corinne's going to be doing a talk about paranormal photography. And I mean, she is the paranormal photographer, and I am so beyond excited to have her do a talk at Sage Paracon. You know, she is the newbie on the block, and I'm going to be working with her throughout the year. And I know she's just going to blow people away. And she's probably nervous as hell and probably hates me right now. But every year I do have a couple of people who work their butt off in the industry, who research, who learn. They're constantly learning. They're constantly trying to better themselves. And they've never had the platform to be able to talk. And, you know, that was Claire Barrand, Claire Hanks, and now Corinne. Every year I take 1 or 2 people that need a bit of a kick up the butt just to get them out there, because what they do and how they go about doing it is bloody fantastic. And they just need that little boost of confidence. So, you know, every year there will be a newbie. And apparently Alex says she's hiding under her cushion now. Good.
I'm hoping that Corinne is feeling better as well, because last I saw of her when she was driving off over the weekend, she wasn't a well bunny, so hopefully she's on the mend as well.
Speaking of bunny, I believe somebody has been asking if Richard Estep is bringing his bunny ears back. Alex, Alex, those bunny ears actually belong to me, and I got them in Mexico, fair and square. Not saying how. It's a different story. But guys, I mean, you know what? We are in full swing for Sage Paracon 2020 already. So a big shout out to the Sage tribe, because tickets are pretty much half of them are gone. I can't believe it. I've been so overwhelmed. So if you were at Sage Paracon this year and you want your ticket for next year, you better get in touch really quickly. Anyone that's never been to the convention, I suggest you grab your tickets this week. I cannot guarantee that we won't sell out in the next 2 weeks. Honestly, within 2 days, half the tickets went. So get your tickets. They're on the website. Contact me. Let's have a chat. It's going to sell out, and I'm not increasing the amount of people. I refuse to make it a bigger convention. As simple as that. It's intimate. It's exclusive. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I refuse to have more people, more, queuing and that sort of thing. It's going to stay small. So I suggest you get them ASAP.
And what we'll do, MJ, we'll post all the links in down below, and we'll advertise it, obviously. That hour's just flown by.
Oh my God, an hour already.
I know. Personally, off from the bottom of my heart, I love you, MJ, and you're amazing. And thank you for coming on. Thank you for letting myself and Sam do the radio behind the Parasearch network as well. Thanks to Kerry as well, because she puts in a lot of hard work behind the scenes during the convention, because obviously we're there. And we then say, well, right, we're going to go live, so Kerry has to be there as well to obviously do the studio. So she did an amazing job. Complete honour.
I can have 20 seconds. I just want to give a really, really big shout out to the guys from Haunted Magazine for helping do all the posters, all the artwork and everything, for giving me a hand with all of that. Minuteman Press for printing everything. I just want to say thanks to all of you guys that helped out. You guys are all freaking incredible. To the Sage Tribe, thank you all for your support. I do this event for you guys, and I am going to bring you bigger and better next year. Not more people, but more. It's just going to be glamorous. It's going to be bloody spectacular.
So, thanks, MJ. Thanks again. And I'm going to pass you back over to Sam. But once again, thank you for coming on, doing this recap show.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely no problem. And I will talk to you soon. Back over to you, Sam.
So before we all say our, goodbyes, good nights, shall I say? I'd like to thank everybody in the chat room.
Thanks, guys.
Off the hook. Obviously, thank you to MJ. Thank you to Kerry. Thank you to Carl. Thank you to everybody. So it's a good night from MJ.
Good night.
Good night from Carl.
Good night.
And it's a good night from me.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.